પાર્ટિસિપન્ટ આજે 24મી થઈ ને તો કે એક જ ઓ અચ્છા પીટી 2 વાગે અહીંયાનો એટલે આપડા તો હજી તો બહુ વાર છે આપડા 2 વાગે પેસિફિક ટાઈમ એટલે આપણું તો 3 કલાક એટલે 5 વાગે આપડા હા પિંકી ને એ લોકોના 2 વાગે મીટિંગ છે એ લોકોના 2 વાગે એટલે આપડા તો 5 વાગે અને બીજે ના ના અહીંયા ફોન અહીંયા જ રાખું કોઈ માંગે તો ખાલી પિંકીનો તને નંબર ખબર પડે તો જ લેજે નહીં
समय ही क्यों चुना इनको मारने के लिए? तो दोनों कभी भी मार सकता था। लंबी प्लानिंग तो बच्चों को मारने के लिए। सिर्फ प्लानिंग ही लंबी नहीं दया। लंबी ये बस। ये कौन सा है सर? ये है PX65 रशियन गन लॉन्ग रेंज। ऐसी गन से मारा गया। सर साहब क्या इस गन से 3 किलोमीटर दूर निशाना लगाया जा सकता है? शूटिंग रेंज में ट्राई करके देख लिया है, इसकी रेंज 3 किलोमीटर से ऊपर ही है। आर्मी वालों के पास जाकर आतंकवादियों के पास नहीं। बिल्कुल बॉस, इसीलिए मुझे लगता है कि सिर्फ मर्डर करना होगा नहीं, तो बहुत बड़ा गुनाह होने वाला है, लार्ज स्केल पर। इंडियन इंटेलिजेंस भी इसके हाथ लगी थी और कैसे? ये सारे फोन इसे राइफल से। आप तो जानते हैं ऐसी हाई प्रोफाइल राइफल सबके हाथ में तो लग नहीं सकती। आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं। और बहुत करने की बात तो ये है सर कि ये राइफल कोई खरीदना चाहे तो खरीद नहीं सकता। ये 1 या 2 पीस नहीं बिकती, पूरा का पूरा अलॉटमेंट होता है। पिछले कुछ सालों में जो आतंकवादी हमले हुए उसमें ये इस तरह के राइफल इस्तेमाल होते हैं। जी हाँ, तो आपको किसी आतंकवादी गिरोह पे शक है? जी हाँ, अगर हमारा अंदाजा सही है तो हम जानते हैं कि इसके पीछे किसका है। कौन? हमारे जिले में कुछ समय पहले हमारे आर्मी में बहुत सारे हथियार जब्त किए थे। कुल हथियार में ये वाली राइफल थी। आप बताओ सर, सारे आतंकवादी मारे उनसे एक आतंकवादी बदनाम कर दिया और उन्होंने सारे हथियार जब्त कर वेल डन सर। और जो आतंकवादी मारकर गया है उसके बारे में सारे पोस्ट को अलर्ट करो। ये काम आतंकवादी का हो सकता है जो बच के निकल गया था। जी हाँ, हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन के मुताबिक ये आतंकवादी गिरोह जल्दी में कुछ बड़ा करने वाला है। शायद ये उसी की शुरुआत है। ये दोनों दिन कोई मामूली ग्रुप नहीं है, ये जरूर कोई बड़ी साजिश है। बड़ी साजिश इस हमले को रोकने के लिए पहले आसमान से चलने वाली गोलियों का रास्ता पता लगाना दोनों बार हाई प्रोफाइल राइफल्स हैं। किसी प्रोफेशनल छात्रों का काम ऐसा नहीं और कोई बात नहीं, कोई ऐसी जगह नहीं है जहाँ पे बैठ के पूरी तो आप कहना चाह रहे हैं सर कि उन्हीं के पास कोई जगह नहीं थी बैठ के गोली चलाने की और उसे ये पक्का करना था कि उसका टारगेट छूटे ना, उससे कोई चूक ना हो, इसलिए वो इन दोनों पर प्रैक्टिस कर रहा था। एग्जैक्टली अभिजीत, एग्जैक्टली वो शायद प्रैक्टिस कर रहा था। सीन पे ऊपर आसमान में कोई चौपर तो उड़ नहीं रहा, ना ही कोई केबल का वहां पे। जंगल है दोनों 60 किलोमीटर के रेडियस में। एक बात तो पक्की है, कोई वहां पर और एयर बलून में बैठा था और वहीं से उसने गोली चलाई 3 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर। और एयर बलून की सवारी करनी है तो पहले से बुकिंग करनी पड़ेगी, तो ऐसे नहीं जा सकता। कोई बात नहीं, इसमें 2 दिनों में दोनों की थी सारी दिशाएं की दुनिया शार्पशूटर हाँ सर, नहीं पायलट है। 25 फरवरी को कुल मिलाकर सर मैंने 6 लोगों को एयर बैलून की सवारी करवाई और 2 लोगों को दिनेश ने। सर तो हमें से कोई गड़बड़ टाइप का लगा या किसी का कोई सामान वगैरह हो। सर ऐसा तो कोई नहीं था, भाई बुजुर्ग आदमी था, पता नहीं बार-बार करके चिल्लाया। आज कंप्यूटर खराब था या खरूद था शायद, उसके हाथ में कुछ सामान था, सामान तो लेगा हम बैठा के लेकर चल रहे। ऐसा नहीं चलेगा। अच्छा नहीं वो भी याद है सर यहाँ पर एक बूढ़ी औरत है, उसके हाथ में एक बैकपैक भी थी और ना फोटो खिंचवाने से भी एहसास कर रही थी। अच्छा यहाँ भी पूरा आदमी आया था और उन्होंने पैसा भी लेके और उसे भी फोटो खिंचवाने से बड़े इसने सर कहीं ये पूरा आदमी और ये बूढ़ी औरत इंसान परेशान है उसके बैग में और उसके पैसा मेरे प्राइवेट सर्विस से भी खून हुआ है। सर वो दिन ये ऊपर अकेला ही गया क्योंकि अगर किसी और के साथ जाता तो फिर राइफल सेट करने में और निशाना साधने में काफी मुश्किल हो जाती। बिल्कुल संगीत था।
OCI तो 8 गई पर
बहुत बड़ा विषय है। इसे अगर जल्द से जल्द नहीं रोका गया तो कुछ बहुत बड़ा हो सकता है। 24 फरवरी को जो आदमी नहीं जाना चाहता था
सोलो ट्रैवलर को तो दिनेश निकल जाया था।
कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहा। पकड़ नहीं पाओगे। अभी हमारा तुझे अपॉइंटमेंट देने के बहुत जरूरी है। चल। जितना मास्क तेरे में मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। ऐसे तुम्हारे इन कानूनों के कमजोर कपड़ों में ताकत नहीं है कि मेरे दिल की मजबूत हड्डी को गला सके। मुझे तुम्हारे साथ जोर जबरदस्ती करना होगा तो 2 मिनट लगाओ हमारे लिए। बाद में ख्याल आता है तुम्हारे परिवार का, तुम्हारी बहन। अगले महीने उसकी शादी है। ऐसा लगेगा जैसे कि उसकी शादी हो गई है और शादी के बाद सदा इस दुनिया में नहीं है। और तुम्हारी माँ मैंने खर्चे के पैसे भेजते हुए तुम्हारे जाने के बाद कौन ख्याल रखेगा उसका? कभी सोचा इसके बारे में? नहीं। अभी मौका है। सरकारी खबरों पे जाओ। वादा करते हैं तुम्हारे चले जाने के बाद तुम्हारी माँ का ख्याल हम रखेंगे। सच? मतलब पूरा ख्याल रखोगे? पूरा ख्याल? तुम्हारी माँ का पूरा ख्याल रखेंगे। तुम बस ये बताओ कि किसके लिए काम कर रहे हो? बड़ा बॉस कौन है? बता दो। पक्का बता दो? हाँ बताओ। मैं जिसके लिए काम करता हूँ ना, वो बॉस है। सब उसका नाम है एसी में करते हैं। एक सेकंड रुकती हूँ। जाओ पकड़ लो गिरफ्तार कर लो उसे। कहा था ना, मैं नहीं करने वाला। जो कर सकते हो कर लो। सीआईडी ओह बॉस बॉस कोई बात नहीं, कुछ मत बताना। अब हम ना मुझे कुछ पूछेंगे, कुछ बताने के लिए तुम पर जोर जबरदस्ती करेंगे, कुछ नहीं, सिर्फ ये ही करेंगे। हम तुम्हें सोने भी नहीं देंगे। मैं जागता रहा, मैं कुछ बता नहीं वाला हूँ। कोई जरूरत नहीं, कुछ मत बताओ, और सोने नहीं देंगे तुम्हें। मैंने तो सुना है कि आदमी खाने पीने के बगैर तो काफी दिनों तक सरवाइव कर सकता है, लेकिन सोए बिना कितना तड़पेगा ये बेचारा। बड़ी बड़ी मौत मरेगा, मुझसे तो देखा नहीं जाएगा। अपनी जिंदगी के आखिरी पल अपनी अपनी आंखों के आगे गुजरते हुए देखो, ठीक है?
Thank you.
सोने मत देना इसको। अरे कहाँ हो यार? जब तक मुंह नहीं खोलेगा, सोने का नहीं, समझे?
No.
So applicant's photo, the image must be in JPEG or JPG form with max size of 30 KB. Applicant signature, the image must be JPEG. तो तुम्हारी sign paper पर करो, एक blank paper पर, ने પછી એની image લો. તમે online apply કરો છો ને?
હા.
તો online માટે they just need the image of your signature.
એટલે on any paper.
And on a blank paper, એટલે જે લખ્યું છે એના પરથી એવું જ લાગે છે.
કારણ કે અહીંયા પછી એને આ કઈ એની રિક્વાયરમેન્ટ્સ એ લોકોએ લખી છે.
શું લખી છે? Yeah, એ ફોટોગ્રાફની પેલી એના પિક્સેલ્સ કેટલા હોવા જોઈએ?
Photo must be aspect ratio 3:1.
ક્યાં આગળ ફોટોનું is different.
ના આ સિગ્નેચર નું applicant signature, the height and width of the signature photo.
ક્યાં લખ્યું?
આ જોઈ.
Signature photo
must have aspect ratio 3:1.
એટલે
એટલે આમ 3 અને આમ
horizontal 3 અને vertical 1. એટલા પેપરમાં તમારી સાઇન આવી જવી જોઈએ એમ. That's what they mean.
અને એનું પિક્ચર લેવાનું, is that all?
ના, પિક્ચરની સાઈઝ એટલી હોવી જોઈએ.
એટલે હું આનાથી ફોટો લઉં આ કરીને,
હા,
કેમેરાથી, આઈફોનથી,
હા,
તો that should be it.
I think so. What you can do is you can just make a box of 3 inch by 1 inch ને box ની અંદર સાઇન કરી દો ને પછી પિક્ચર લો. એટલે પછી એ બોક્સ ની જે બોર્ડર તમે બનાવી હશે ને, you can just crop picture that way, that is 3:1 picture થઈ ગયો, right?
હા,
એટલે એ સાઈઝ નું પિક્ચર જોવું છે.
3:1 નો એસ્પેક્ટ રેશિયો હોવો જોઈએ. ખ્યાલ આવી?
હા, એ તો મને ખબર પડી. હા,
ને પછી ક્રોપ કરી દેજો એટલે that is going to be a 3:1, right?
Okay.
એટલે basically just the proportion. Yeah, just that's the proportion they're looking at, right?
હા.
Yeah.
You okay?
પછી એને પ્રિન્ટ કરી અને સ્કેન કરું, કારણ કે અહીંયા છે કે પ્લીઝ બી રેડી વિથ ધ સ્કેન કોપી ઓફ ધ ફોલોઈંગ આઇટમ્સ.
પ્રિન્ટ કરીને પિક્ચર લે તો શું થાય? વાય પ્રિન્ટ કરીને સ્કેન? આઈ ડોન્ટ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ વાય ડુ યુ નીડ ટુ સ્કેન પછી? તો પ્રિન્ટ શું કામે કરવાનું? યુ જસ્ટ
કરવાનું તમે એક પેપરની ઉપર પિક્ચર લો
અને પછી એ પિક્ચર ને તું ક્રોપ કરી શકે, એટલે યુ જસ્ટ મેક શ્યોર કે એટલું જ પિક્ચર હોય ને.
પછી એને અપલોડ કરવાનું છે ને.
પણ પિક્ચર છે તો તારામાં આવી ગયું ને.
ઓકે, તો પછી એટલે આઈપેડ થી જ પિક્ચર લઉં છું
તો શેનાથી લેવાના
તો
હતા?
બીજું તો
ફોન થી, એટલે પણ
પણ એ તો crop તો થાય જ ને.
ના ક્રોપ તો થશે, ખાલી અપલોડ કેવી રીતે? પછી હું ફોન થી પિક્ચર લઉં તો એમાં કેવી રીતે અપલોડ કરું?
Then you can email it to yourself. તમારા કમ્પ્યુટરમાં ડાઉનલોડ કરી દેજો, પછી કમ્પ્યુટરમાં ડાઉનલોડેડ ફાઇલ અપલોડ કરી દેજો પેલાની અંદર.
અને
ઓકે, ઓલ રાઈટ. એટલે આઈ વિલ બધાને સાઇન કરાવીને કરાવું છું.
3:1 અને તારે 3:1 3:1 સાઈઝ નું એ તો બહુ મોટું ઘણું, એમાં તો સાઈન આરામથી થઈ જાય. 3 ઇંચ બાય 1 ઇંચ તો ઘણું મોટું થઈ ગયું સાઈન માટે.
હા, એ તો બહુ થઈ ગયું.
હા, એમાં તો કેટલી બધી સાઈન આવી જાય. પણ
And they want the aspect ratio in it to be
એને મોટું સાઈન કરવાનું પડે.
3 centimeter by 1 centimeter kind.
હા, હું હમણાં એ જ કહેવાની હતી કે 3 ઇંચ બાય 1 ઇંચ કરે એના કરતા 3 સેન્ટીમીટર બાય 1 સેન્ટીમીટર કરજો, એટલે તારું આસ્પેક્ટ. નહીતર તું 3 ઇંચ નું પેપર લેશે તો પછી સાઈન તો નાની જ હોય. સાઈન તો 1 ઇંચ ની અંદર આવી જાય આપણા બધાની. રાઈટ, એટલે 1.5 ઇંચ બે બાજુ બચશે, એટલે whatever just
હા, એટલે ઓકે, એટલે 3.
you can play around with that. Yeah.
હા, ઓકે
Yeah.
ઓકે, ચલો તો પછી ઓકે બાય. આદિત્ય ક્યાં છે?
તો છે.
ઓકે ઓકે ઓકે, ઓલ રાઈટ, ઓકે ઓકે, ચલો બાય. હા પપ્પા જોયું છે તમે એકવાર ફરીથી આ જોવો છો કે
मेरा अपना टारगेट तो दिन तो बताइए इसका इसी मौका मिलेगा खत्म कर देंगे इसको
नहीं सर, मैं भी जानता हूँ पर सर किसने किया भी मेरी माँ को सर आपने के लिए तब तक क्यों नहीं पकड़ा
જોયેલું છે ઓફકોર્સ જોયું છે
क्या तुम जानते हो किसी के बारे में कोई ऐसा कि तुम्हारी माँ आशा लता का कत्ल कर सकता हो? नहीं मुझे तो ये फैमिली ही बड़ी अजीब लग रही है। ये उसे अपनी माँ के मरने का उतना दुख नहीं है जितना इंटरेस्ट उसको उसके किलर के बारे में जानने का। वो कॉल रिकॉर्ड्स और सेल लोकेशन की रिपोर्ट मंगवाई थी, उसका क्या हुआ?
सर वो मल्टीपल केसेस होने की वजह से थोड़ा डिले हो गया सर जिस लड़की की डेड बॉडी की फोटो हमने सर्कुलेट करवाई थी उसे देखकर इनका कहना है कि ये उसकी माता
सर सर प्लीज मैंने अपने बेटे को देखना है मुझे मेरे बेटे के पास ले चलिए सर
करण
आई
इन दोनों में से किसी को जानते हैं आप लोग? इन दोनों की डेड बॉडीज हमें रिकी की डेड बॉडी के साथ में मिली।
सर इन दोनों की डेड बॉडीज रिकी के साथ मिली आपको
नहीं सर हम नहीं जानते
अरे वादी यही जानते तो कानून के हाथों से भी नहीं जिसे हाथों से गिरा देती है
वाह क्या जोक मारा और मैं मारूं? जोक नहीं तुझे मारूं। अरे
और की अभी क्यों लड़ रहे हो तुम दोनों चलो अपनी क्लास में चलो चलो
सर दीप तो स्कूल में सबको परेशान करता था और रिकी के तो पीछे ही पड़ गया था आप कॉलेज में किसी से भी पूछ लो उसके बारे में सब यही करेंगे
रिकी के पीछे मैं क्यों पड़ूंगा सर? वो तो खुद लड़कों के पीछे पड़ता था, मतलब लड़कों को पसंद करता था। लेकिन अब सर रिकी के बारे में आरव से पूछिए, वो मोहित का बेस्ट फ्रेंड है। रिकी आरव को भी लाइक करता था।
सर ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था वो दीप खुद फंस गया है तो अब मुझे भी फंसा रहा है
सर रिकी के घर कॉलेज मोहल्ले सभी जगह पूछता है लेकिन कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं मिला जो रिकी को आशा लता जी या वो दूसरा डेड बॉडी उसके साथ कनेक्ट कर
इन दोनों लड़कों की डिटेल पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक दोनों के सिस्टम में अल्कोहल पाया।
પપ્પા અહીંયા તમારે સાઈન કરો તો
यही नहीं, इन दोनों का मर्डर
ખાલી આની આટલામાં જ સાઈન કરવાની છે
લાસ્ટ ટાઈમ જે કર્યું હતું ને એ વેબસાઇટ ખોલું છું પાછી લેક્ચર આપતું લાસ્ટ ટાઈમ બીજું દાખલ બીજું કોઈ હશે એવું છે કઈ આવતું નથી કશું અત્યારે કઈ આવતું નથી 5 વાગે આવ્યું હતું અમારે કશી ના કોઈ છે જ નહીં, બંધ જ છે. કશું ચાલુ જ નથી કશું એ જગ્યાએ.
બધે ટાઈમિંગ ખબર છે? ગયા વીકે શું ટાઈમ હતો?
5 વાગે હતા આપણે. પછી પહેલા કદાચ ચાલુ કર્યું, ખબર નહીં 5 વાગે થતું છે. અત્યારે નથી કશું આવતું.
એ તમારી પાસે ઈમેલ માં છે?
ઈમેલ જાય તો આપણે ઈમેલથી જોઈન થયા હતા ને.
ના, મારામાં એ ઈમેલ ખુલતી નથી. એટલે ઈમેલ માંથી વોટ્સએપ માં મોકલાય એવું હોય તો મોકલો, તો હમણાં કારમાં ખોલી જોઈશું. કારણ કે એને ખબર તો પડે તમે છો કે નથી.
તને વોટ્સએપમાં મોકલું, રાઈટ?
Okay, Google, timer for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Starting now. પેલી એની ફ્રેન્ડ ને એ લોકો રહ્યા નતા.
એમ મને થાય ને પેલો હસબન્ડ ને કન્ફર્મ ના રહે, એનું લેવલ શું હોય, પેલો શું વાતો કરતા દેવ. એનીવે સારું થયું ના રહે ને, કેટલું હેડ બધું ખાલી વહીવટ જ નર્યો જાય. રાત્રે નીકળી ગયા છે ને લોકો બધા, આપણા પણ બાય પણ
બધા સાથે જ નીકળે. અરવિંદ આ સેટ ચાખો તો કાચું લાગે છે.
Yeah.
આમ
No. સરસ છે.
ક્યાંથી ચાખ્યો? આજ ચાખ્યો ને?
અહીં આપ્યું તો મને ગુના મળ્યું.
Call from Roger Smith.
अच्छा बेटा
શું કોલ ફ્રોમ?
हेलो नमस्कार, कैसे हैं आप? हाँ, सुशीला, Neetaji wants to talk to you.
ઓકે ઓકે.
निकाल नहीं सकती कि मैं आई माइट स्टॉप बाय, लेकिन नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। आने पे बुलाया था खाना, तो इनको खिलाना पड़ेगा ना पहले घर पे, तो वो देरी हो जाती है, फिर ऐसा मत ही करा। थोड़ा थोड़ा याद था, पर थोड़ा पक्का नहीं था। आई नो एग्जैक्टली कौन सा मकान है, मकान और इस गली में तो चेंज नहीं आया। मैं पोस्ट लेट है, ऐप से भी मुझे ध्यान था, क्योंकि हम भी वो मकान पहले हम देख रहे थे वो मकान। नहीं वो बता नहीं, उसे ध्यान था कि ऐप से चालू होता है, पर वो आगे और अरे राजा सनीता जी आ गए।
कब?
अभी वो राज शर्मा क्या रुकते हुए आएंगे, क्योंकि उस दिन पार्टी में गिफ्ट नहीं दी थी उन्होंने, और वो गई नहीं थी, तो अब रुकते हुए आएंगे।
तुम्हारा ट्रिप में आएंगे?
हाँ।
कितने बजे?
6 साढ़े 6 बजे। तो मैं उशुबा को तो मना करती हूँ।
खाना खाएंगे?
आप बना दीजिए एक चीज कुछ भी खाएंगे। बना देंगे कुछ भी, कोई खास बात नहीं। तो आप पुलाव बनाओ क्या कोई चीज का? राइस कोई कम ही खाती है, राइस तो खाएगी नहीं।
खिचड़ी?
चावल नहीं खाती है ना वो।
कौन?
शुगर की प्रॉब्लम है ना, नीता जी को शुगर की प्रॉब्लम है ना, बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग शुगर की प्रॉब्लम है। मेरा भी मन कर रहा था कार्ड्स खेलने का।
आपको मंत्र हो गया भाई? जाप हो गया आपका? जाप हो गया?
क्या हो गया?
जाप?
हाँ जाप तो कर लिया मैंने। ऐसे आप सो रहे थे तब मेरा घंटे भर का जाप हुआ, फिर मैंने कहा अभी कभी कर लूं, रात को तो फिर पता नहीं क्या होता, याद आया तो अभी खत्म करो। सुबह को बताया सोचा था, फिर मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले सोचा नहीं जाऊंगी, कोई मूवी देखने बैठूंगी। कहाँ अभी बरसात और ये ऐसे मौसम में मन भी नहीं लगा था।
शाम को नहीं जा रही वहां पे?
नहीं जाना,
मना कर दिया उसको?
बोले हम जाके आ जाना, भाई साहब का ध्यान रखना। बनाओ कोई क्रीम है, गरम गरम करके अच्छा लगेगा। ध्यान आता है, गुलाब के अलावा और क्या ऐड कर सकते हैं? इसके साथ वो सूप ही लेना और कुछ नहीं लेना। I feel like taking soup only. आपको क्या लेना?
Question. Did you call Subra Bhangi?
शुभंगी, शुभंगी क्यों बोलते? शुभांगी।
Subhangini.
मैं अभी करती हूँ, उसका नंबर मेरे उसमें।
ढोकला बनाते हो, ढोकला है, हांडवा,
कौन सा?
हांडवा।
हांडवा भी नहीं बनाऊंगी ना।
हम्म।
हांडवा भी नहीं बनाऊंगी। थी कि नहीं मैं नहीं आ रही हूँ सही बताने के लिए, फिर कभी आ जाऊँ कोई बात नहीं, मतलब अभी भी आके गए कभी भी आ जाऊँ, मुझे बात है फिर मैं इनको ना फिर वो इनको छोड़ के जाना, तो उनका डिनर का टाइम होता है उस समय और आज का दिन थोड़ा डल सा ही लग रहा है एकदम बरसात सीजन। नहीं पर मैं किसी के साथ नहीं आ सकती, अचानक इनको जरूरत पड़े ना तो सबको तकलीफ देनी पड़ती है। आई डोंट लाइक दैट और आई डोंट माइंड ड्राइविंग, थोड़ा सा आपको बस ही मौसम ऐसा चिंता है कि कहीं निकलने का मन ही नहीं कर रहा, तो कहीं निकलने का भी मन नहीं कर रहा। नहीं इट्स सो नाइस ऑफ यू दैट मुझे ऑप्शन तो दी ना आपने, आई लाइक दैट बट रियली कभी-कभी मन कर जाता है कि चलो सबके साथ थोड़ा टाइम बिताते हैं, तो कभी-कभी लगता ही है हाँ नहीं वहाँ पास में भी इतना दूर भी नहीं है कि वो भी यूनिवर्सिटी वगैरह होता है तो लोग हाँ मुझे भी लग रहा था मुझे जहाँ मेरा तो ऐसी बरसात करते हैं मैंने सोचा भी था उसके बारे में, फिर मैंने डिसीजन ले लेती हूँ मैंने कोई मूवी देखी थी, मैंने ना सोचा कि मैं सोचा मूवी देखी है इसलिए फिर वो संडे का था तो मैंने पुरानी मूवी है जस्ट वॉच कोई मूवी देखी। ओके नहीं आई नो और मुझे पता है अभी भी मेरा मूड मैंने टारगेट ड्रॉप पे इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट so I appreciate that and I really appreciate not that I'm saying that okay और मैं आती तो मैं अपने आप ही आती हूँ तो मैं ना किसी को बीच में उठाना इनको जरूरत पड़ जाए I don't want to do that
Did she feel bad?
Not at all. She knew that I may not want. मतलब रवि के साथ आ जाओ ये लोग सब आ रहे हैं, मैंने कहा मुझे सब पता है तो अकेले भी आ जाऊंगी, मुझे इसकी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। I just मूड ही नहीं आ रहा है, तैयार होकर भी कहीं जाने का मन नहीं कर रहा है, ऐसा मौसम है। अच्छा ना और फिर
Are they coming for Kalasta?
Yeah, they will come. वो तो खाना भी खा लेंगे, क्या पता 6 बजे आ रहे हैं तो I don't know क्या anyway जो भी करेंगे है खाना तो 10 थोड़ा बहुत तो है। दाल पड़ी है और क्या बोले दाल है करेले की सब्जी है, ठीक है इतना तो वही पार्टियां बनाने पुलाव बनाओ कि ये बनाओ ढोकले। दाल भी थोड़ी सी है, छोले तो निकाल दिए मैंने फ्रीजर से, तो क्या बनाऊं क्या करें व्हाट शुड आई डू?
ढोकले
नहीं ढोकले डिनर थोड़ी होगा ना, फिर वो डिनर नहीं है ना, तो साइड डिश हुई ये लाइट साइड डिश आई नो बट और क्या सब कर सकती हूँ याद ही नहीं रहता क्या करें।
क्या चीज? क्या पढ़ी है?
Yeah.
जो इजी काम वो करो,
हाँ?
जो इजी काम वो करो।
एक सेकंड सुनाई नहीं देता, क्या बोलते, काम करते करते आना पड़ता है क्या?
जो
Hey, Maurice.
Hi, Dr. Nathan.
How are you? Are we
Hello,
all?
Nitin bhai.
Hi, Jai Bye. Are we all good, Maurice?
Yeah, we should be good.
Okay, I can help keep admitting when you're ready and open.
Okay.
It's 1:55, so it might be a good idea to open it now or another minute.
It should be open right now, the link. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, anyone that joins will come directly.
Can come. Okay, cool. All right.
The lighting and sound are okay on my end.
Yep.
And I have host privileges, right? So I can share my screen.
Yep, I just made you co-host.
Okay, great.
And are you recording this, or would you like us to record it?
Could you please record it? Yeah.
No, Maurice, we have to record it.
Okay.
Yeah, we will record it, Pranav. I thought you already started recording because when I joined in, it did tell me that. So,
Yeah, I just realized it's been recorded.
okay. Jai Janendra, and thank you all for joining. We will give another 2-3 minutes and start at 2:05, right, Morris?
Yep, sounds good. Hello, I hope everyone's doing well today. It's 5:05 now, so I think we can go ahead and get started with today's session for the mental health seminar. And so to quickly recap, we are the Global Compassion Organization, and we are a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to doing humanitarian services for the community. And we would also like to thank Jaina for this opportunity to connect with the community and teach everyone about mental health. And so today our speaker, his name is Dr. Pranav Shah. He's a psychiatrist and wellness advocate and meditation teacher in Orange County, California. And so before further ado, I'd like to give it to Dr. Pranav Shah. Thank you for speaking with us here today.
Hello, everybody, and namaste. I'm Pranav Shah. So I want to start out asking a question to everybody. What is it that you ultimately want in life? And you can write your answer in the chat. Maybe if everybody has access to the chat function. So the question is, what is it that we all want in life? What is it that we think we want to do? We want our life to be like? So can people put that answer in the chat? So Wendy says happiness and peace. Rashmi says maintain peace. Mhm. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of ourselves, peace. Help people, happiness, very peaceful life, no physical problems, health, and peace in our mind and heart. So happiness and peace, of which is kind of, when you combine the two concepts, it becomes contentment, right? Kind of a peaceful happiness, not the kind of happiness we get when we eat a cone of ice cream or eat our favorite pani puri or something like that. That's more pleasure, sensual activities. What we mean by happiness and peace of mind is closer to the word contentment, where we find peace and happiness no matter what is happening in our lives. So what stops us from attaining this? Why do we suffer? What is it that makes us suffer? There are many different reasons people suffer, right? We lose people in our lives, we lose things in our lives that we like. We want things that we don't have. Let me start sharing my screen. So suffering comes in many different ways. But we all seem to be caught up in this rat race of life, where we want to work harder so that we can make more money or get more things. And all the ads tell us that if we buy this, we'll be happier. If we get that, we'll be happier. We always think that happiness is just around the corner. When we get that promotion, when we get that house, when we find the right partner in our lives, whatever it is, we will attain happiness or contentment at that time. And we all kind of seem to get caught up in this web that's life, where we keep thinking that happiness is just around the corner. We want things that we don't have. We don't want things that we may have. These are all kind of seem to be what cause us our suffering and pain in life. But what if I were to tell you that suffering is really not caused by these external events? That the root cause of suffering in our lives is because bad things happen to all of us, right? We all lose people in our lives. We all can have more things in our lives. We all go through chronic pain and health issues. There's nothing like perfection. We're all human. And we all go through these difficult times in life. And it's not these external events that really cause our suffering. What causes our suffering is how we react to these things in life. What in Buddhism is sometimes called the second arrow. The second arrow is our reaction to what is happening in our lives. So if I am, say, going to give this talk to 1,000 people, and I'm walking to the stage, and I stumble and fall on my way to the podium. Yes, that causes me physical pain, but what causes my suffering really? It's my reaction, how I react mentally, emotionally to what just happened. So if I am in my head, if I am saying to myself, God, you're so clumsy, you're always doing this stuff. Now everybody's laughing at you. Nobody's going to take you seriously. You might as well just stop talking. That is my reaction to what just happened. And according to our Yoga Sutras, according to Buddhism, this second arrow is what causes most of our suffering. So how we react to things that are happening in our lives is what causes our suffering. Now, there are a couple of aspects of this that I want to explore a little more. So one is that we assume that reality, the external world, is how we perceive it. So perception becomes reality. So whatever we see our world as, we assume that that's how the world really is. Right? So, but, the Yoga Sutra, fourth Yoga Sutra says, Vritti Sarupyam Mitratra. Our mind tends to misapprehend, misunderstand reality all the time. We all have our belief systems. We all have prejudices and biases. And when we look at the external world, what is happening in our world, what we don't realize often is that we filter what we take in from this world. And like the 6 blind men looking at an elephant, we all interpret our reality from our particular viewpoint, our particular belief systems, our particular biases and prejudices. The problem is that we begin to think that this is reality. So we negate other people's reality and we say, no, I am the one who is right. I am the one who perceives the reality the best. And everybody else who disagrees with us is wrong. They are just misunderstanding what reality is really like. So there is this gap between reality and perception. But we don't fully grasp that there is this gap. So we continually believe that the way we see reality is the actual reality. So a very quick example of this would be something like you enter say I enter a sort of a darker room that's dimly lit, and there's a coiled rope sitting in a corner. Now, my immediate perception may tell me that it is a snake. And I react to that, thinking it's a snake with fear, apprehension. My heart rate goes up. I start to maybe sweat a little bit. I'm trying to think about how to figure out how to save myself. Until I actually shine some light on it and realize that it's actually a rope, not a snake. This is how we actually live our lives. We are misperceiving reality all the time. And too many times we don't really pause and think about what we are perceiving. We just believe it to be reality. And we are therefore reacting to these events in our lives as if that's the only way to perceive that. And we all know, we all who have lived through this in this country for the last 4 years, 5 years, know how difficult it can be to convince somebody else of our own reality, because each of us has our own reality. We think that what we believe is the right thing. So this is what we talked about, the second arrow, where we misperceive reality, and because of how we misperceive reality, we constantly suffer. So how do we react to things? So especially when we are under stress, what happens when you make a mistake? When you do something wrong or something bad happens to you, you get fired from your job, your boss screams at you, or simple things like you're running late and there's a lot of traffic. And so you are going to be even later. And
mental health.
I'm sorry? Okay. I thought somebody said something. So how do we react to things? So if I'm caught in traffic and I'm running late and I'm afraid my supervisor or manager or boss is going to be angry at me. And I begin to kind of imagine all these bad things. I'm going to be fired. They're not going to like me at work. I'm not going to be able to finish my work today. All these thoughts begin to come to us, right? We begin to imagine bad things happening to us, especially when we are under stress. Or say we've made a mistake in our work or something like that, then we worry about it. We constantly ruminate about that. And when we start reacting to things like that, we suffer, we are in pain. And if we keep doing that, we develop anxiety, we develop depression, we develop addictions, because we think that we can get pleasure and happiness by drinking this wine or taking this medication or something like that. So we kind of try to calm ourselves down and achieve that happiness, that elusive happiness, through material things, when really those are not, it's not the lack of material things or lack of sensual pleasures that's really causing our suffering. The other thing that happens, well, this is just talking about how we start to imagine bad things happening to us when we are under, especially when we are under stress. And this is how our mind is, right? We're constantly a mind chatter in our mind, in our head, where there's a running commentary going on in our heads that is constantly telling us, especially if it's negative, on the negative side, about everything that's wrong with us, everything that we did wrong or that's going to go wrong in our lives. And this mind chatter, the self-talk, comes from what? It comes from our past experiences. So if we have had bad experiences with, say, women in our lives, then we're going to, every time we meet a woman, we're going to feel that maybe they will betray us, maybe they'll not like us. And all that mind chatter starts telling us bad things that can happen to us in this relationship. So Daniel Kahneman, a psychologist at Duke University, wrote a book recently called Fast Thinking, Slow Thinking. And he talks about how we tend to react to things based on this mind chatter 95% of the time. 95% of the time in our lives, we tend to react to things that are happening in our lives through our emotional brain, through our limbic system, which is because it's fast and automatic and impulsive. We live on autopilot. We do most things in our lives kind of without really thinking about it, without making a pause, taking a pause and kind of employing our rational, logical mind to understand what is happening to us. It's only about 5% of the time that we actually respond to things in an effortful, reflective way, in a deliberate way. And, you know, Bhagavad Gita says, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Mind can be a wonderful friend, but is a terrible master. When we let our mind rule without deliberate effort, without understanding how we are reacting to things, that's when things begin to go wrong. Yoga Sutra, the second Yoga Sutra says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is not what we think most people think it is. Yoga is not about the asanas. Yoga is the way of life. It's the way to harness our mind. Asanas are just a part of the journey towards harnessing our mind, towards focusing our mind, towards bringing together our mind and our bodies. Yoga is also sometimes defined as a union between our mind and body. So chitta is how we perceive things. It's all that mind chatter that we're talking about. Vritti is our mind's activity to make sense of the world. And Nirodha is cessation or control. So Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha is basically that suffering is caused by our mind's activities that are uncontrolled in reaction to what is happening in the world is what causes the suffering. And to harness this mind and unite it with our bodies so that our mind and body are one, our mind, body, our soul are one, is the answer that yoga gives. Buddhism, this is Viktor Frankl, who's a psychiatrist, who's written several books that are really good. He talks about the same thing. He says, between stimulus and response, there is space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So let's tease that apart. Remember, we talked about reacting and being on autopilot. Basically, when we are on autopilot, when we are just reacting to things that are happening to us, there's no gap, there's no space between stimulus and response. We are just reacting to things as they come. Somebody says something, we get a little irritated, we say something bad back to them. That's just a reaction to them. We hit traffic, we get frustrated, and we curse, we are upset about it. When we create a space between stimulus and response, between what is happening to us and how we react to them, when we create that space and we choose our response rather than reacting to it automatically, that's where our growth and freedom is. Freedom is not about being able to choose between 15 different kinds of toilet paper. Freedom is about our personal freedom, internal freedom, our freedom to be able to choose how we react to things. And when we are able to do that, that's where we grow. That's where we grow towards contentment and happiness. Buddhism has the same kind of concepts. And right now, mindfulness has become a very popular term in our culture here. Mindfulness is the same concept as what Yoga Sutras say. Basically, it's where we calm the mind chatter that's constantly going on in our minds, that self-talk, that running commentary that's all in all our heads. And we calm that, and we are able to focus our attention in the present moment, what is happening right now, rather than thinking about what happened in the past or what may happen in the future. We don't have any control over what already happened. We cannot go back in time to change things. Do we have any control over what happens in the future? Not really. What is the only moment? What is the only time when we have control over what happens? It's this present moment that we're living in. And yet, studies have shown that 50% of the time, our mind is either in the past or in the future. And we're not paying attention to what is happening right now in our lives. So mindfulness is about cultivating that sense of being in the present moment, where we are fully focused, where we quiet that mind chatter and are able to fully focus on what is happening in front of us. A keen awareness of the present moment. It also talks about being able to accept whatever is happening in our lives without reacting to it, without trying to impose our own belief systems, our own prejudices and biases onto what is happening. So it's like, remember we talked about that gap between reality and perception? How we perceive the world is different than what is actually happening in the world. Mindfulness, when we are able to calm that mental chatter, what begins to happen is that we begin to see the world in high definition, so to speak. We begin to see the world more clearly without that filter of our biases, our prejudices, our belief systems.
Hello.
Call from wireless caller.
Hello. Namaste Manju, कैसे हो?
Hello, you need to put yourself on mute.
Manju, Bafna.
Thank you.
Okay. So it is an acknowledgement and acceptance of the reality as is, without any judgment, without any critical attitude. Now, it seems like all of these ancient texts, all of this wisdom in many different religions, including Jainism, is telling us the same thing, that our suffering is caused by how we perceive the world and how we react to it. And the solution, the way to achieve our goal of contentment and peace of mind and happiness, is not to change external circumstances. It doesn't matter how much money you have, right? As long as you're able to feed yourself and take care of basic needs that you have, more money does not give us more happiness. In fact, it actually just decreases our level of happiness. Because what happens when we get more money and we get those shiny new objects, material things? We get a new car, we get a new home. We find out our neighbors actually have a bigger home and a better car. And now we want that. We want more jewelry. We want whatever. There's no end to that wanting. And the more we want things that we don't have, the more we suffer. So the solution to the way to achieve our goal of happiness, decrease our anxiety and depression and sadness, decrease our addiction issues, is not through all these material things. It is one, to learn how to quiet our mind, quiet that mind chatter, and learn to put that gap between stimulus and response, so that we, instead of reacting to what is happening to us, we are making a deliberate, thoughtful, reflective response to whatever is happening to us. When we begin to live like this, what science has found is that there are many, many benefits that start happening. Our anxiety, stress, depression, all of them decrease. It reduces pain. How many of us suffer from chronic pain? That low back that's always hurting us, or that shoulders that we hold tight because of the stress that we are under. Improves mind, mood, and quality of life in many different chronic illnesses. It improves our memory, our creativity, enhances our mental and physical stamina, and our ability to bounce back from losses and setbacks in our lives. It also has a number of amazing physiological changes that happen as we begin to live in the present moment, begin to live mindfully and quiet that mind chatter down. It enhances our memory, improves our immune system, and there's considerable evidence coming in now that it actually slows down the aging process. Improves control of blood sugar, reduces our blood pressure and our heart rate, and overall the risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. So how do we get there, right? What are the steps that we need to take so that we can live a more mindful, more thoughtful, more reflective life with awareness, where we're not living on autopilot all the time? So one is managing our time better so that we're not constantly just putting out fires, which is how we live most of the time, right? We have a list of to-dos that we have to take care of right away, because otherwise it's going to become a fire. And we're constantly putting out these fires, but we don't proactively kind of plan our time and organize our lives so that we don't get to a point where there are fires happening. So time management is really important. There's a slide missing here, but I'm going to talk about it. Kind of learning to differentiate between what is under our control and what is not under our control. So many times we worry about things that are not under our control. Worrying about COVID pandemic, what's going to happen to the world. Worrying about what's going to happen to our adult children, how they're going to live their lives, whether they're going to be happy or not. Worrying about our parents' health or our own health. Worrying about world events or political events. These are not things that are under our control. And learning to differentiate between, so anytime you start worrying about something, whether it's something that happened already or something that you're imagining will happen in the future, ask yourself a very simple question. Is this under my control? If I worry about this, do I have any chance of making this better? 99 times out of 100, the answer is no. Doesn't matter if we stay up all night worrying about something. It's not going to necessarily make it better. It's not going to give us control over what actually happens. So learning to differentiate between what is under our control and what is not is a really important step in kind of learning to live a more conscious, intentional life. Cultivating gratitude. So instead of kind of thinking about what we don't have in life, how about if we focus on what we do have? Instead of taking our loved ones for granted, how about if we start feeling grateful and expressing our gratitude towards people we love and care for who do so much for us? When we start to do this, some of our negativity disappears. We begin to look at life as a glass half full rather than glass half empty. We become more optimistic and hopeful in life. Self-compassion. How many times do we put ourselves down because we made a mistake or we said something that we didn't mean to and hurt somebody? Can we go back and take it away? Can it make it not happen? No, we cannot. When we are self-critical like that and constantly putting ourselves down, what we are not recognizing is that we are also human. We are bound to make mistakes. If you're human, you make a mistake. What we can do about things that we do wrong or when we make mistakes is not ruminate about it, because that's not going to change anything. What we can do is learn from our mistakes and be careful that we don't make that mistake again. And maybe we make some reparations. We apologize to the person that we hurt. We try to undo something that we did by making other things that can make reparations. But worrying or ruminating about it does not make it any better. So having that compassion for ourselves, just as if your best friend came to you and said to you, I made this mistake, what would you say to them? Would you say, well, now you have to ruminate about this and tell yourself that you're really a bad person for having done this? No, we're not going to say that. So treat yourself like your best friend. Tell yourself the same thing. The advice that you would give your best friend. When you find yourself becoming self-critical, see if you can treat yourself like your best friend and give yourself the same advice that you would give your best friend. There are also simple practices that you can bring into your life to become more mindful. Slow things down. When you walk, maybe walk a little slower and become more aware of your surroundings. Stop and smell the roses, right? That's where it comes from. We go through life in such a hurry all the time that we don't appreciate each moment that we are alive. So see if you can slow things down whenever you can and appreciate what is happening right now. Take regular breaks from your life. Unplug, maybe once a day, once a week. Get away from all the screens that we live with. Your TV, your computer, your iPad, your phone, because they also take us away from the present moment. So see if you can just be with your loved one or be with yourself without any of these screens. Absorb the positive. So when somebody pays you a compliment or when good things happen to you, let that sink in. What we do, unfortunately, is if somebody is critical of us, we become very it stays with us, right? But if somebody pays us a compliment or says thank you to us, we think, oh, they're just saying that. They don't really mean it. So allow yourself that time to absorb the positive, absorb the good things that are happening to you in life. Practice self-compassion, start a gratitude journal. If you are working, see if you can learn to separate work from home, especially during these times when a lot of us may be working from home. Well, that makes it very difficult to create that boundary between work and personal life. And so work kind of gets into our evening life and our personal lives also. We never stop working, kind of. See if you can create that boundary between work and personal life. Eat more mindfully. Much too often we eat while watching television or answering text messages, and we don't really taste the food. We don't enjoy the food that we are eating. So see if you can slow that down also. Remove all distractions when you're eating and just enjoy the food. Talk about how the food was made, what ingredients went into the making of the food. And see if you can truly enjoy the food that you're eating. Make time to play and laugh. It doesn't matter what is going on in your life. We all need to play and laugh at times. Be creative, have a hobby, do something that's outside of our regular life. Be with friends, be social, engage in our faith activities. Make time to do those things. And the last thing was RPM, which is one of my favorite teachers is David G. And he talks about RPM, rise, pee, and meditate. Build a practice of meditation in your life. meditation is like going to the gym for our mind and our heart and our soul. If you want to be more mindful, if you want to calm that mind down, meditation is the best way to do that. So create a practice of meditation in your life, whether it's right after peeing in the morning or before going to bed or any time in between. But see if you can build into your routines a time to meditate every day. And a lot of people ask, how much time should I give to meditation? It doesn't matter really. Start with 1 minute of meditation. Build it up gradually to maybe 20, 30 minutes a day. Whatever you can. The answer is whatever time you can. A lot of people also say, oh, but I cannot meditate because I cannot empty my mind. I have all this mind chatter. Well, that's why you're meditating, because you have that mind chatter. And meditation is going to help you quiet that mind. So to say that I cannot meditate because I have that mind chatter is like saying I cannot take a shower because I'm dirty. Well, that's why you're taking the shower, to clean yourself. That's why we are asking you to meditate, to kind of calm that mind down. So yes, when you first start meditating, it's not going to be easy. It will feel like your mind is constantly, our mind has been described as an insane monkey whose tail is on fire. That's how it jumps around constantly. When we start to meditate, it begins to calm that mind down.
Doctor, what is RPM? Can you repeat that? RPM?
Rise, pee, and meditate. Because usually the first thing we do when we get up is go to the bathroom, right? So rise, pee, and meditate.
Thank you.
Oh, I put the slide. Okay, I'm not, we're kind of nearing out the end of our time, so I'm going to pause and give you some time to ask questions or make any comments that you feel.
Pranav bhai,
Yes, Nitin bhai.
if you want to take a few more minutes to talk before the question answer, it's perfectly fine.
Okay, so how about let's have a little bit of conversation and then maybe I'll do a meditation.
Exactly. That was my second thing, that maybe we can just practice a meditation for 10-15 minutes after a few question answers.
Okay.
Whatever you choose, but we have got time. We haven't anybody following you, so we can take our time and then close out. So thank you.
So let me, before I go on, let me just ask, does anybody have comments or questions or want to share your experience with how to calm your mind down or how to reduce your suffering?
Dr. Shah, if
yes.
you have a physical problem, so how to calm your mind, because
So say if you have chronic pain or something like that, so I actually I teach meditation to people with chronic pain, and I run a group with them and teach them how mindfulness and meditation can actually decrease our chronic pain, decrease our suffering from that, and um, it helps us kind of take a different view of chronic pain. So too often we follow this medical model when it comes to chronic pain, which is that I have a problem, I should go to the doctor, and the doctor is going to diagnose me, give me a medication, or suggest some surgery, and that's going to take care of my pain. The reality is that that's not what happens, right? A lot of us continue to suffer
Yes.
in spite of taking medication, in spite of surgeries, in spite of the best efforts of our doctors. We continue to suffer with pain.
Yes.
So, what we know about chronic pain now is that chronic pain is somewhat different from acute pain. Chronic pain can also, it's not just caused by whatever is wrong with our tissues and our body, but it's also caused by an overactivation of our nervous system. Specifically our sympathetic nervous system, the same system of nerves and a part of our brain that's responsible for the fight or flight response, that's responsible for stress response, how we react to stress, is also responsible for producing and exaggerating some of that pain that's coming from our tissues. And when we start to be more mindful and do meditation, we begin to calm that part of our nervous system down. And what we've seen, I've worked with people with chronic pain for 30 years now. And what I've seen over and over and over again is that when they begin to calm that nervous system down, their pain level also goes down. Their need for medication goes down. So chronic pain is not just a medical condition, just like diabetes is not, or high blood pressure is not. It's not just a medical condition. It's what we call a biopsychosocial illness. And what that means is that there are biological factors. Yes, there are factors that go into causing your pain or your diabetes or high blood pressure. But there are also psychological and social factors that go into these illnesses. And we need to, for example, with diabetes, we cannot just take a medication and then eat whatever we want, whenever we want, and say, well, I'm taking medication, so I should be okay. That doesn't happen, right? What does your doctor say about diabetes? No, you not only do you have to take this medication, but you also have to exercise. You also have to be on a particular kind of diet. You have to change your lifestyle in order to address this illness. So chronic pain is an illness like that, where you cannot just rely on medication or surgery as a solution. You have to also change your lifestyle, change how we deal with stress, change how we react to things. And that makes a big difference. So I hope that answers your question.
Vipassana is good to do meditation Vipassana.
Yes, Vipassana is the tradition that I got trained in also. Vipassana is a Buddhist tradition of meditation, and it is very effective. But it it does not matter which meditation you start with. What is important is that you start that practice of meditation in your day. But yes, Vipassana will be a very good place to start.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Doctor.
Go ahead. You have a question?
Yes. Doctor.
Yes.
My name is Surendra Singh from Dayton, Ohio. I suffered a stroke 20 years back, and I went through a lot of therapies, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. And I found laughter is the best therapy.
Yes.
I published a book on that 1,000 jokes. That helps a lot.
Yes. It playing, laughing, being kind of not taking ourselves too seriously, not taking life.
Make other people laugh.
Yes. I cannot agree with
how can
you
I get
more.
a copy of your presentation?
I believe they're recording it. So,
how do I get a copy?
We will send out a link to all the participants after the next Sunday when all 4 sessions are done. So you will get access to it, sir.
But thank you for sharing that. Maybe you can share a joke.
Thank you, Doctor. Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
I joined later today, so late, 5 minutes ago. But meditation, if someone is taking a depression medicine, is it okay to do the meditation, or there is always a fear that you will trigger something and scares you out?
Okay. A really good question. So I'm a psychiatrist. I work with people with depression, anxiety all the time. And I teach meditation to these people that I work with. You do have to be careful in the sense that when we are alone with our own thoughts, if you find that when you start meditating, you actually get into a very negative mind frame and you cannot stop that mind chatter that's going on, then you may want to either try guided meditations or you may want to work with a teacher or a guru to help you with your practice. Because the risk is that if you cannot be non-judgmental towards yourself, right? If you begin to be self-critical, then that may spiral down and increase your depression. So, but if you are able to accept whatever is going on in your mind without judgment, with kindness towards yourself, with self-compassion, then meditation is actually going to be very helpful for you in your depression. And we know now that mindfulness and meditation can be as effective for anxiety and depression as medications are. Does that answer your question, Maitri?
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Doctor?
Yes.
You're doctor. I'm also doctor, but there's difference. You're MD, money doctor. I'm PhD, pretty handsome doctor. So somebody asked, Lord Buddha, I want happiness. He said, do 2 things. Remove I, remove want. What is left? Happiness.
Right.
I want happiness. Remove I, ego.
Remove
wants.
the self, right. And
Happiness
remove
is
the
left.
wanting, because it's the wanting that causes most of our suffering, right? I want this, I want that, I want more than my neighbor has, I want what my friend has. All that wanting in life is
all the passion, kasai. ego, I.
Yep.
That creates the
Ego.
problem.
Yeah. So you know how we talked about misperception, kind of misunderstanding reality? Well, it's not just the external reality that we misunderstand, it's also our own self. And we create this ego, we create this false sense of self. And we think that that's who we are. So the I, you know, very well said, sir. The I is the self that we create, that the ego that we create within ourselves, that feeling of pride and that feeling of that I am doing this, I am going to do this. It's
We
these
need to
two
replace
things
I.
that
We
bring
need to replace I with a V.
right. We can replace the I with a V, or we can understand that this I that we have created is an elusive misapprehension, miscomprehension of our reality.
See, if you say I did not do it, then what do you think? You know, suppose I'm building a school or something, and then you said no, I didn't do it. How you can be proud or something?
So I think it helps to kind of think of I as a semantic word, right? As a language that we use without identifying with that I. So if as long as you say, okay, for language purposes, for communication purposes, I'm going to have to use the word I or we
Yes.
or whatever we use to communicate. But I'm not going to mistake that for this self, this ego that I have. And if you learn to differentiate between the two, then it becomes easier. So yes, of course, in our language, there are not different ways of communicating clearly without using the word I. But as long as we know that this I is not me, this I is an illusion of a self that I have created, then it as we tease that apart, we begin to kind of become more peaceful. We identify with our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own bodies so much that we think that our thoughts, our feelings, our bodies are who we are. That's the I that we talk about, right? But really, the true self is not these things. These are things that we have created in order to deal with the external reality in the world. Does that make sense?
So what should I think, you know, that I didn't do it or God has helped me to do that?
There are, so you're talking about, say, taking pride in something that you've done, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can say, okay, this was a team effort. We all kind of got together and did this, or you can, depending on your faith and belief system, you can say, God helped me to get there. Or you can say, I am just the proximate cause of what is happening, meaning I'm the immediate cause of what happened, but I'm not the creator of that.
Okay.
I'm just a nimit.
Yes, exactly.
So we can tell in our mind that we were the instrument to carry this function. And that's how we can separate I as an ego versus the instrument to carry that function.
Yes.
Okay.
These are great questions, by the way. Keep them coming.
Dr. Pranam, I did not get an introduction. Are you in California
Yes, I am.
at UCLA?
No, I used to be at UCLA. Now I work with Kaiser Permanente in Orange County. Okay, if there are no more comments or questions, we can do a meditation.
Doctor, I have a quick question. Do you do personal, like you said you are a psychiatrist. Do you see someone, is there a possible, like you can put your address for meditation if somebody wants to contact you as a patient?
Sure, I can put my email address there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would ask everybody to do to prepare yourself for this meditation is see if you can be in a quiet environment. And in a comfortable position. And if you can, for this part, if you can please all mute yourselves so that our background noise does not affect other people. And I'm even going to shut down my video. So I want to minimize distractions as much as possible. So just see if you can follow my voice.
Yeah, for the meditation, if all of you can turn the video off, that will help everybody. So distractions are minimal. Thank you.
And if you want, you can also close your eyes and maybe adjust your posture, the way you're sitting a little bit more to get more comfortable. Close your eyes and see if you can leave all the worries and tensions of the day and begin to focus on your breath. Maybe take a few deep breaths and just experience how breath feels in your body. As the air goes past your nostrils, how it feels in your throat, how it fills up your lungs, how it expands your abdomen as you breathe in. And then the movements of your chest as you breathe out, the air going past your throat and the warm air exiting your nostrils. Just focusing on that sensation of breathing and letting go of all that tension in your mind and your body. Not trying to do anything right now. You're not trying to get anywhere. Just trying to simply be in this moment with your breath. Just living life one inhalation and one exhalation at a time. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. As you try to focus on your breath, you may become aware that your mind keeps going. It's constantly planning and analyzing and remembering, comparing and contrasting, dreaming and blaming and feeling sad or angry or fearful or joyful. Your mind has fantasies and likes and dislikes. It's just constantly busy thinking about this and that. And there's this constant chatter going on that distracts you, that takes you away from your focus on your breath. That monkey mind just likes to wander and jump around. See if you can try and avoid getting into conversations with these thoughts, as if you're just lying in a field and looking up at the sky and watching clouds go by. Without getting attached to any particular cloud or any particular thoughts, just watch them go by. You can even name your thoughts if you want. Oh, I just had an anxious thought, or I just had a thought about my future. And at times you may find yourself getting caught up in these thoughts and feelings. Perhaps again and again, your mind wanders off, and maybe for 30 seconds or a minute, you forget to focus on your breath because your mind has wandered off. When you become aware of this, without judging yourself, without becoming self-critical about this, just simply, kindly, gently bring your mind, bring your awareness back to your breath. You may have to do this repeatedly as you try to focus on your breath. That's okay. That's just the nature of our minds. And what we are trying to do is train our mind to stay still. And that's going to take some practice. So just becoming aware that your mind has wandered off and bringing it back to your breath, that awareness itself is meditation. And as you build awareness of this constant stream of thinking and feeling, you'll begin to realize that all of these mental states, our thoughts, our feelings, our body sensations, they're all fleeting and changing constantly. Change is the only constant. We have something like 60 or 70,000 thoughts in a day. Most of which we don't pay any attention to or forget as soon as they happen. It's when we start to focus on a particular thought, when we get caught up and lost in these thoughts and emotions, that's when we make them bigger than they are. That's when we begin to identify with our thoughts and our feelings. That's when we begin to create this illusion of the self. So see if you can just learn to give space to whatever is arising inside with some detachment, as if you're watching yourself. You're watching your thoughts, your feelings. And as you do this, instead of fighting or resisting whatever is going on inside of you, you will come to understand and deeply know that all things change. And you'll begin to experience balance and equanimity. And whatever storms of anxiety, pain, sadness, anger, confusion that you're experiencing, if you just develop that distance and observe these emotions and thoughts and give them some space, they'll gradually diminish by themselves. See if you can continue to focus on your breath as I repeat this quote by Swami Kripalu. My beloved child, break your heart no longer. Each time you judge yourself, you break your own heart. You stop feeding on the love, which is the wellspring of your vitality. The time has come, your time to live, to celebrate, and to see the goodness that you are. Do not fight the dark, just turn on the light. Let go and breathe into goodness that you are. Namaste, everybody. Thank you for joining me this afternoon, taking your precious time to be with all of you.
किसके बारे में पूछता आप ऐसे क्या करते हो बार बार
Thank you, everybody.
उनको सुनाता है.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
doctor. Thank
Namaste.
you.
Namaskar. Thank you so much.
Nitin bhai, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Jai Janendra, Pranav bhai, thank you so much. It is, and thank you everybody. In a short notice, Pranav bhai stepping in and helping out. That's wonderful. And to all the participants, we are very appreciative of you all. I do have question. We certainly had anticipated that mental health probably will not be as popular among people for variety of reasons. We still have one more part left that will be next Sunday. And we actually have one African American. She's going to tell her story about recovering from alcohol and getting back to the society that our another organization, Upper River Foundation, is supporting. So I hope you all can come back, join, and learn and listen to her. And then I have a question you can answer now or next Sunday about. Obviously, you all have stuck around, so it is helpful to all of us. But what other topics related to medicine, of course, and physical health will be of interest? With the diabetes, that was very successful, probably because we have a high incidence of diabetes in South Asians and especially Indian population. And mental health, probably because of many of us still have denial that we have a problem. And that was the intent why we brought this. And appreciate you all joining. Now, so you can email us, you can put on the chat. What are the other topics that you think will be of interest to the masses in the community?
What is the email?
I will put my email here in the chat. It's my name, nitinshamd@gmail.com. But I will put it so that you can share your wish. Anything else anybody wants to bring out before we end the session today? I have a question, Pranavai. Pranavai, you still here? Probably not, but I see Parul went still. So anyway, any questions, comments from anybody?
Nitin bhai,
Yes.
can we cover, I am not sure whether it's been covered before or not, but the nutritious value of the Gujarati food?
Okay.
Because what happens, our Gujarati food is very carb oriented at the same. So if you have some kind of a guidance in that, that might be helpful.
Sure, point noted. We will see. We are thinking more towards heart disease next year. And in that, we can certainly incorporate food and focus on the Gujarati food also.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Pramila Ben, just in mindful meditation on Zoom.
Okay, yeah. That was, I was thinking if somebody can help us 15-20 minutes, because I know that it takes long time for
Right.
mindful meditation, because I am doing it on Saturday afternoon with Dr. Dave on Zoom. And it took me about 5-6 sessions to just to get in, you know.
Right.
And now if I miss it, I really miss it. I feel it. Okay? I miss that my meditation. So I try to avoid other social activity to attend that meditation. So I think that might be helpful to all of us, even slowly. But I don't know how many people are interested regular basis, once a week even.
Right.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I joined late, but I'm very interested. Where do you join the meditation? I'd love to join meditation.
Yeah, send the email to Pranava, pnpshah@gmail.com. He does host various sessions for the meditation, and I'm sure he will find a session where others can join.
Thank you.
You're welcome to send an email to me as well, and I'll connect you with him. But
Yeah.
he does have sessions. So.
No, अभी क्या
Okay, any other comments?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all, and have a good rest of the weekend, and we will see you all next Sunday. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you. Thank you.